All right, everybody, good morning. I found something good to fit right there. So that's what we're going to start off with today. I believe. Is up, I think. All right. Make sure everything is turned on like it should be, right? Everybody prep for a good, productive weekend? I like to think that I am. So hopefully that will be the case, right? There we go. Put this gaping maw right there. Let's see. So I narrow that down a bit. Do not want to get bit by a mandrill, right? Yeah, speaking of monkeys, right? Good morning. Good morning, everybody coming in. Good morning. Oh, hello over there on YouTube land. YouTubeopia. I am doing good. Ready for the weekend, right? I got a lot to do, actually. I don't really do weekends per se. I don't go to my university usually, unless there's some kind of very specific, you know, pre-planned activity. Um, but I got a lot to do in studio this weekend, so I'm excited about that. And need to get my story locked down and start planning out some thumbnails for pages and update the character's costume, or I guess uniform or whatever. And morning we're just working on filling in a gap. So I like to take these sketchbook pages and just kind of pack them up all the way, so fill in every single gap there is. And plus, it's expensive paper. This is a Stillman Burn Zeta sketchbook. Actually, you can buy. I wish you could buy it in the right size that I'm looking for like comic pages, but the sheets they sell are either like 11 by 14 or 22 by 30. Oh, look, there's a bot over there on Kick. Let's kick the Kick bot, huh? Yeah. Sure, that's off of the page. There it is. Delete. Poof. That's taking a lot of space, so that's good. Fair to do in that corner, but so, you know, every day represents a new opportunity, right? All right. Good enough for that sketch. Maybe we'll start off inking with this brush here. Let's see. It's interesting the structure of the teeth there. It's one of the great things about like really looking at real things is what you don't notice when you don't. Like, I never would have thought about the gums working like this, or the teeth kind of emerge out of these gums that are kind of pointed in. It's kind of a snaggletooth, I guess would be the word. Kind of their uneven quality and how they're pointed in, except for the outer canines. That's not the kind of thing I would come up with on my own. I wouldn't think about that. Um, but it is the kind of thing you see if you study real things. So, comes the other side of the mouth. Let's look at that. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. And we got any good art plans for the weekend? Any projects you're going to work on? Moving your goals forward? Missing a tooth over here. Rah. How's that for a good, nice yell right there? So it's a better job silhouetting those teeth, huh? Ooh, good morning. Good morning. I'll go over there on the kick as well. So it's a mandrill here. It's kind of like baboons. Right? Very like bamboo, baboons because of their funny butts, right? They're kind of interesting faces, big red noses. Let's see. Rah, like this guy. He's got some mood. some of these edges out. Good morning. How's my mandrel here looking? I feel like circumstances are driving me into becoming a full-on Luddite. Or approaching that point, anyway. Anyone else feel that way these days? Kind of abandon certain technological, I guess, improvements because they're more of a hassle than they're worth. That's how I kind of feel more and more. It's like, what are we really, what are we trying to accomplish here? Not that it's all bad, but so the argument would be more for a thoughtful use of technology. Like when people tell me they can't even write an email without being offensive, and they need the chatbot to do that for them, then I kind of consider that a problem. Failure in communication. So something for that back corner over there. Let's see, this is really blown out, huh? Let's go move that to a better spot. There we go. A little too shiny up there, right? There we go. I'm going to put in that left corner. Maybe something techie. Would be good. So I'm going to save this to animals. I'm about drawing that cat, so we'll save this for later too. That would be good. I'll try. Let's try it first before I put my hand on top of it, right? Let's see. Let's just scoot that over a little bit. Go. Little wires bouncing around. Flip it down. Do a good job of managing their cables here. Always be impressed by good cable management, right? There's whole YouTube channels devoted to that subject. We're doing half an hour? Okay, good. Welcome to my morning warm-up, where I like to fill in every gap on the page. Something. Good morning. Let's see. There. All right. That fills in that corner. Let's move over here. Oops, wrong side. You go there. Coming in here and filling in the gaps, right? There we go. Dog. We'll go with this cat, this hairless cat. I forget what they're called, but see if we can fit it here. Put the face anyway in here. Bring it down a little bit. Put those ears in. Okay. Let's put on. That one I wanted. That could be a later one. $2,000. That'd be good. Yeah, fill this little gap here. Good morning, everybody. Popping in. I'll build out the structure of this El Gato here. I'm not stretching him out too much. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. There. There. That right. There. Above his feet. Okay. Come down here. There we go. That's better. There we go. That fits better, right? Put that over here. Nice. That's as far as we go. Over here. Let's see that much, so just ignore that. And sometimes I wish I weren't allergic to cats. I do like cats a lot, but I am allergic to them. Maybe one of these hairless cats. Problem with the allergy, it's not so much the fur as it's the saliva that causes the allergy. Where's my little calligraphy? My C3 calligraphy nib. But I am, so therefore, no cats allowed. Good morning. Welcome to the morning warm up. You know, can sleep when you're dead, as they say, right? It's always time for that then. It's almost 9 a.m. here, so I've been up since I think a little just before 6. Right? It's too much to do. Oh, it's your birthday on the West Coast. I guess 2 hours are not quite West Coast, Midwest or mountain area, right? Yeah, my birthday isn't until May, so I don't have that excuse. Oh, Colorado, okay. What is with? So I've driven through Colorado a number of times. Why is Eastern Colorado's freeway so awful on the 70? Like it's like the right hand lane is just speed. It's just like potholes the whole way. Um, like you have to drive in the left lane to avoid potholes. What's up with that? It's fine once you kind of get close to Denver, but way out there, it's just like across that border with Kansas or whatever, and it's just ba bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump the whole way. You cross the border into Kansas, and the roads are just fine. Like there's nothing wrong with them. It's just Colorado. It's not. Kansas, they're very polite. They've got nice paved roads and everything. Um, museum over there is really good though in Denver. Never been that far east. Yeah, if you drive on the freeway, especially going west, I think it's not quite as bad going east, if I recall, but it's really bad going west. Like you get out there and it's just it feels like you're driving over speed bumps the whole way. Denver Art Museum. That's all was what it's called. I drove out west to visit family in Utah this winter, and so I was out that way. But um, I am an artist. Thank you over there on Kick. Hopefully, an artist, right? You know, on my better days. There's probably some exceptions to that, but yeah, they had a like this exhibit from this artist who does like weaving, like knitted stuff that I thought was kind of interesting. There was a big Pizarro one, but I didn't feel like paying for that. I think it was Pizarro. Um, I know they used to have. I didn't couldn't find it when I was there, but I didn't have a lot of time. They used to have like a Daniel Sprick corner, but maybe that was just temporary a long time ago. This is a Type C calligraphy nib, number C3. So, and it's just in a nib holder. basic one. But I like it because you can get these long, narrow strokes out of it very easily, and you can get longer, fat ones too. I am using Koh-i-Noor ink. I might switch to something else, the Ultra Draw. So that's what I got in my a little jar of that down there. Um, oh, okay. Good morning. Everybody's popping in all of a sudden. Um, I use that because I have over here on the side a set of rapidographs, technical pens, and so they're a low clogging ink. Though I might switch back to the super black because I was looking at its description. It says it's low clogging as well. So, or non-clogging. They're both permanent. I think the super black might be darker. I should maybe just try it out. Rapidographs are these things, kind of old school uh, pens. They're technical pens. So there's like this has like a super fine line. There's other ones of different thicknesses, but they were used for illustration. You can still get them, at your art supply shop. But I like to use the same ink no matter what I'm using, and so I kind of switched everybody over to the official ink for them, just because I want to make sure everything's kind of the same. It might not be necessary at all, but part of my fine art brain says, "Hey, you got to use the same material." It's like painting acrylics on top of oils or something like that. You don't ever want to do that, and so um, that's why I'm using that ink. But I've got this other one, the super black. I remember liking it a lot. I kind of swapped over to this stuff, and so haven't been using it. But I do like this pen nib a lot. I kind of discovered it by accident. Um, I've been studying some inkers, to understand comic book inking a little better. Not what you have to do, but what is commonly done. And anyway, so I was using a lot of the Hunt 102s, and I was like, well, what else do I have? Just while I'm in here, and I kind of dug up an old tin of pen nibs that I had bought when I was, a student when I was like 18 or 20 or whatever. And I was like, oh, what's in here? So I pulled it out. I tried out a bunch of the nibs. And I was like, hey, wait, this one actually has a lot of, I would call expressive capacity. Um, and so I've been using it a lot ever since, just because I think it has a really nice effect. So I used it a lot on this guy right there. I use brushes and other things too. Like I've been using my Sumi brush this morning, which I like to use a lot. But it just kind of depends on the kind of the nature of the project I'm working on, what I'll use. So, yeah, Type C calligraphy nib, about a bunch of them. But again, it gets dull, I can swap out. It just seems like they take a while to dull. Um, and my one complaint about the ink is, at least initially, it's a little bit runny coming out of the bottle when I pour it in, which I guess is great for the pens. But when I'm trying to ink like this, it can leave a big kind of blob, which I don't like as much. darkness around that silhouette there. Alright. What is this project? This is my morning warm-up. So I like to kind of get up in the morning and draw for about an hour, which it has been actually right now. A Parker pen, huh? Actually, I don't know what that specifically is. It's like a marker or a brand. So here's my brush. I like these. This is actually a pretty beat up Sumi brush, but it's just a little heavier. Downward facing line. This feels nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good pens. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I'd get like a pack of Uniball .5 ballpoint pens for my birthday and Christmas. You know, in a pack of paper, which I'm sure my parents were grateful for. It's like a really cheap gift. A writing pen, okay. But yeah, I like these Sumi brushes a lot. They get really fine lines and very expressive or textured lines, depending on how you handle it. It's very different than your Kolinsky Sable round brushes that are pretty popular with comic book people because they're super smooth. But let's see, let's go ahead and dry this off, get some. I love this hair dryer because you can fold it, so it hooks onto my my little cart over on the side really well. What's my favorite comic book artist? Oof, that's rough. There's a lot of those. There's some that that are some of my favorite comic book artists that don't do comics, right? So you look at someone like a Travis Charest or Charest. I really like his stuff. His storytelling is really good, and he doesn't do any comics anymore. He just does commissions, which I think is really annoying. Right? Um, but recently, I like a lot of stuff that James Herron does, and Sean Gordon Murphy. There's kind of these sketchy artists, and Daniel Warren Johnson. Kind of these really their stuff is like much more loose and sketchy, which I like a lot. I was looking at a bunch of Gerardo Zaffino's stuff the other day. Some really, really cool covers and interiors that he does. So those are a couple. That's a good number right there. You know, when I was growing up, yeah, Dale Keown, yeah, that he's yeah, where is that guy? Um, where did he go? He wasn't someone I followed when I was younger, but you know, certainly become more familiar with his stuff over the years. Um, like when I was a teenager, I was all about the Jim Lee, right? So anything Jim Lee did, I was there for it. Um, and I don't think he's quite as good as he used to be because he's got other distractions. Like I've got you know this old Wildcats Cyberforce crossover that he did, and in that one issue, he has two 4-page spreads. Um, but yeah, he's certainly you know a really great one. I really liked that Mark Silvestri did a Batman book, Batman and Joker, not too long ago, and that one's really nice. Another one I really like is what's his name? Off the top of my head, it's Greg Tokini, Brazilian artist. He's done a lot of stuff with Rick Remender. Um, yeah, there's I should just like order it one of these days. There's too many great art books right out there. Like I was looking at Body Bags Artist Edition. There was a Kickstarter for it, and you can still get the Artist Edition. It's 130 bucks for it. Another 35 for like this other art book that you can get. And someone was like doing a review of it. It's like you know it's totally gorgeous stuff. It's very different than like a Jim Lee. You know, like more design and cartoony based, but it's still you know just gorgeous stuff. And I was looking at that. And then lately, I've been picking a bunch of there's a lot of really good stuff being published these days. Like a lot of the what's it called, Ghost Machine. So I've been picking up was it Red Coat and Brook Exodus and what's the other one? Hyde Street. I think there were most of all those are on hold temporarily. So let's go through some highlights here. But some gorgeous stuff going on at those. And that's Jeff Johns and then a bunch of artists that he's working with, and some other writers. Too thick. But yeah, there's just a ton of you know, there's a lot of people I really like. I like them for different reasons. But yeah, in terms of stuff that's going on right now, like you know, like there was a I don't really read Absolute Batman, but there was an Absolute Batman annual, and it had both Daniel Warren Johnson and um, James Herron in it. So I did pick up that one. Um, stories are okay. You know, it's a little, you know, but the art, you know, is really what I'm there for. Really became aware of James Herron stuff on. He did a book called Rumble, and since done some kind of his own stuff since then. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Jean Giraud, Mobius. I was actually some students at my university that work on an independent project, and they were showing me these costumes they were designing for their project, for their characters. And I was like, "Are you familiar with Mobius designs for the never made, the unmade Dune movie?" They're like, no. Because of course not, right? If it's not on social media, they're not gonna see it. And so I pointed out, like, oh, they're like, oh, wow, these are a lot like what we're doing. I'm like, yep. um, so I thought that was, funny. It's like you end up kind of reinventing the wheel, right? If you're not aware of what you're doing. But there we go. The date source on here, so 260117, and this would be pin ref. Same with this guy over here. So, but yeah, there's just certain artists that they never go out of style. They're timeless, and we love them for that. So, he's someone I definitely bring up all the time. I actually like to use him to teach initial kind of ink drawing and contour drawing, because the way he draws the contours on surfaces, not in everything he does, but in a lot of the stuff he does. It's a way of showing students, it's a good way to show form, is to kind of do these cross contour type drawings where they're explicitly doing that on the surface, almost creating a grid, and find that's really, really beneficial to them, I think. I don't know, maybe I'm just traumatizing them. It's hard to say sometimes. So that's brown. It's blue. It's purple. Red. And, green. Orange. Blue. Red. There we go. Everybody's in the right order over here now. All right. That's it for this morning. I may be back later. I've got some things to do, and then hopefully, Mike Manola. I always liked him. I remember he did like an X Factor book or something, and it was so bizarre because it looks, it doesn't look like X Factor, right? And I was like, what is this? I really liked it, but I was like, it's so different. So I've got around here something. It's like an X Factor annual. At least he did the cover or something like that. I've got around in a box somewhere. I'm like, what? Who? There's artists like that. You open up a book and you're like, wait a second, who's this guy? Or I'm looking at Dan. Been collecting Dan Panosian's Punisher miniseries he's doing right now. That's got some gorgeous inking in there. Nick Klein doing the Hulk right now is actually kind of insane. So do I have that out somewhere here? I don't. Matteo Scalera, really great stuff too. There's so many good artists right now. So, but anyway, I'm gonna call it a morning, and we'll talk to you all later.